North Dakota, was 22, 22, 22, and she was a very homebody type of woman. She rarely went out with her friends, and she loved basketball. She loved basketball, and she was adopted as a child from South America. This was in September of 2006, and she had two friends by the names of Danielle and Tony, and they were trying to get her to come out for a couple drinks and just hang out for a little bit, just for a little bit. They could not contact her, so they decided they would go to her apartment. And as they get to the apartment, they notice her vehicle is still there, so they know that she's home. And when they arrive, Danielle stays in the car while Tony goes inside. And as they are trying to locate her, Tony opens up the door to the apartment, and she is yelling for Mindy. And when she does not answer her, she says it was pitch black, but at this point she felt something at her feet, and it was Mindy. At this point, Tony goes to get Danielle, and when they get up to the apartment, one of Mindy's neighbors comes running to try to help. And when he gets there, he checks her pulse, but she was already deceased. When the police arrive to the scene, they also notice that she has a belt that is around her neck, and her throat was cut, and it was not a pretty sight. She had chemical burns on her face from where a whole thing of pine sol was poured on her, and obviously so they wanted to speak to him. When they are talking to him, they find out that this man is named Mo Gibbs, and Mo Gibbs was actually a CO at the jail there, and he was in the Navy from 1990 to 1999, and he was dishonorably discharged from that because he got a assault charge. So he was dishonorably discharged from the Navy. But as I said, he was a CO, a corrections officer at the jail. He also allows a DNA sample. So they have at that point two samples. Two. They've got the man with the laundry basket, Mo, and then they also have the neighbor Jay that came to try to help at the scene. They also determined that she had a ex-boyfriend, and this ex-boyfriend's name was Kyle. And they met while they were in college, and they were together for 2.5 to 3 years. They broke up not too long. I think within the year of the incident, the murder happening, when they were together, it was a little bit rocky. However, he says that he did not have anything to do with it, and that Mindy was quite the flirt. So maybe she was being friendly with some customers, and somebody was trying to maybe take her out or something, and he thought maybe it just did not go well. Maybe she was not interested, but that was what he suggested. That is what he suggested could have possibly happened. Something else that he does inform law enforcement of is that his dad and Mindy had a very close relationship, and that it was to the point that he had told his father it was weird, and if he did not stop the communication, he was no longer going to be at family events. He also agrees to a DNA sample, and then they want to speak to his dad. When they speak to his dad, he informs them that Mindy reminded him a lot of his wife when she was younger, and that she was just so much fun and bubbly. And he says that he would never hurt her. He does tell them, though, that he used to talk to her about 20 times a week. But concern